I need you guys to understand something. I'm speaking from the perspective of a Tinder veteran. Okay, I am, or at least I was, a veteran in the game before my retirement. My track record speaks for itself. All of the receipts are there on my channel. Okay, I was addicted to Tinder. So I'm not speaking from a place of never having used the app. I'm speaking from a place of being a former addict that realizes the cycle that Tinder pulls you into, that keeps you single. Which is very ironic because Tinder is supposed to be a dating app. It's supposed to help you find love. But the people messed it up. Now, I want to give you guys a little bit of background for anyone who's new to my channel or anyone who doesn't know about my experiences with Tinder to save you the time and the cringe of having to watch those videos. So, the reason why I got on Tinder in the first place is because I had never had a girlfriend. Okay, I was 19 years old and I had never had a girlfriend. And for a while, that didn't really bother me. But at a certain point, I started to feel external pressure. And I'm not going to get too deep into that. But I started to receive external pressure to find love. So what did I do? I got on Tinder. Okay, I wasn't in college, so I wasn't seeing girls there. I don't live in a college town, so, pretty much everyone my age had moved away, or if they hadn't moved away, they were already, in relationships or married or starting families and things like that. I wasn't really seeing a lot of girls around where I lived, which is still true to this day. I do have a girlfriend now, but we met online. Not through Tinder, but we met online. But that's a different story for a different day. Anyways, at the time, I was very lonely. I was, on YouTube. I wasn't working. I wasn't doing anything else. So, I would go weeks to months at a time without interacting with a girl my age. And, I think from a biological perspective, that definitely weighed on me a lot. So I got on Tinder. Okay, I got on Tinder and Bumble. Now, initially, when I got on Tinder and Bumble, I wasn't getting any matches. So I got discouraged. Okay, it messed up my ego. I'm not gonna lie. It really, really messed with my self-confidence. But eventually, I decided to get back on it more so as, a parody, something to bring comedic value to my channel, and hence Tinder Tuesdays were born. Now, Tinder Tuesday was, a fan favorite at the time. For my 200 to 300 subscribers, they looked forward to those videos, okay? And even though I knew I hated making those videos, I did it for them. But in doing Tinder Tuesdays, for some reason, I don't know to this day why, but for some reason, I started to get more matches on Tinder. Okay, I started getting a lot of matches on Tinder, which you can see in those videos. I even went out and invested in Tinder Gold so that I could get more matches for the sake of my content. Now, okay, like I said, it started off as something to bring comedic value. Just a funny series for content. Nothing else, just content. I would get on Tinder just for the video, and after I turned the camera off, I would not get back on Tinder for the rest of the day. But over time, as I got more matches, I began to become addicted to the validation that I was receiving. Like I said, I was 19 and I had never had a girlfriend. And not only that, but growing up, I had very little interest from girls, girls in my age range. So for me to receive this validation for the first time in my life, the heart eye emojis and all of the compliments and things like that, I was addicted. As an insecure person, it's very easy to get addicted to that degree of validation if you haven't received it before. And I got lost in the sauce. Now, because of that, what ended up happening is I began to do Tinder Tuesday off camera. Okay, all of the things that I was doing in those videos, I began to do in real life, okay, in my free time. I would spend time talking to girls on Tinder, and eventually I built up the courage to start asking girls out on dates. Matter of fact, in one of my Tinder Tuesday videos, I actually met the girl that I would end up going on my very first date with. I'm not going to tell you guys which video it was, but just know that she was in one of the videos. Now, after I went on my first date and I started to kind of put myself out there more, I built more and more confidence. It was all fake confidence, confidence with no true foundation, but it was confidence nonetheless. Okay, I was putting on a facade and using it to attract women into my life. And that's where I messed up. Okay, instead of building that authentic confidence that I talk about so often in my videos now, I built up fake confidence. Confidence that can get you in the door, but can't keep you in the room. Okay, in other words, every time I would find a girl that I was interested in and start going out with them, it didn't work out. And it would always end the same exact way. I would always get ghosted every single time. And I couldn't figure out why this was happening. But then I realized that there were two common denominators between all of these girls because they were all very different from each other. The common denominators were me and Tinder, or, dating apps in general, Tinder, Bumble, all of that. Okay, those were the common denominators. So what did I have to do? I had to work on myself and I had to get off of the dating apps because, they were keeping me single. I realized that. But I want to elaborate on how they were keeping me single and how they're probably keeping you single as well if you're on them. Okay, now the first problem with Tinder or dating apps in general is that they enable rebound and hookup culture. Okay, now rebound and hookup culture aren't the same thing, but they do go hand in hand. Okay, a lot of times, people who are fresh out of relationships, they go on Tinder to find hookups, to cope with their emotional trauma, the emotional trauma that they're not willing to confront. I've seen that exact situation and experienced it multiple times. Like I said, these situations that I had with these girls often ended the same way. And the reason why is because even though the girls were all different, a lot of them were dealing with some type of trauma that, they weren't ready to confront yet. And they were looking to use me as a hookup or as a source of validation, something to distract them from their feelings, from their pain. And I don't want to sit here and act like I'm perfect because I'm not, especially back then. I was seeking validation just like them, just for a different reason. But ultimately, I had trauma that I was repressing as well, which is why I continue to attract those types of people. But you have to understand that that's what Tinder is. Tinder is basically a breeding ground for people with trauma. It enables rebound culture because you can get out of a relationship and be on Tinder the next day and, match with somebody, and that person will never know what you just went through. They'll never know what you're dealing with until they begin to invest time into you. And by that point, feelings are caught. It's too late. It's too late. Now, the trauma is being passed to that person. And I'm speaking from experience. That's happened to me multiple times. And, I participated in this as well. And that's what got me burned. I remember when the situation with that very first girl didn't work out, I got on Tinder the same exact day. And I started swiping again. And I got a few matches and I started talking to them. I didn't take the time to fully heal. Even though, it was never anything serious. It wasn't a relationship or anything like that. I'd never gave myself the time to properly heal from that situation because, like I said, the confidence that I had was fake. So it basically reinforced all of the negative perceptions that I had about myself. And like I said, instead of taking the time to heal, I just got back on Tinder, hoping to find the next person, the next Band-Aid to cover up my wound. Now, you have to understand that because a lot of people on Tinder are dealing with emotional trauma, a lot of people on Tinder are also going to have commitment issues. Okay, and if you're trying to be in a relationship, commitment issues are going to get in the way of that. I speak from experience. Now, like I said, all of these girls ended up ghosting me. They all ended in the same way. And I'm not going to sit here and act like, I didn't play a part in that because I definitely did. But I think that one thing that I noticed between all of them is that they all had commitment issues. Some of them were aware of it. Some of them were not. And I had commitment issues myself. Even though I was ready to commit to a relationship with them, I realized in hindsight that I wasn't ready to commit to a relationship with myself, which is why I continue to attract women like that over and over and over again. And it wasn't until I committed to that relationship with myself that I began to attract people that were ready to commit to me and ready to commit to a relationship with me and start building with me. But being on Tinder, it makes it very hard to develop a relationship with yourself because, like I said, it enables rebound and hookup culture. Okay, it enables you to live in such a way where you're not giving yourself the time to really get to know yourself and to listen to yourself and work through your internal problems and any self-limiting beliefs or negative perceptions that you may hold about yourself. Now, the next reason why Tinder is keeping you single is because you have too many options. Okay, at any given point throughout my Tinder journey, my Tinder career, if you will, I had between 10 to 20 matches. Okay, that means that I had 10 to 20 girls lined up who I could talk to. You know, maybe some of them were more interested than others, but at the end of the day, I had 10 to 20 girls lined up. Now, you have to understand that there's more guys than there are girls on Tinder, which means that if I had 10 to 20 matches, that means that the girls that I matched with probably had closer to 30 or 40 matches on Tinder. Okay, how can you expect to stand out in a crowd of 30 to 40 if you're not seeing this person in real life? Okay, how can you expect to stand out in that crowd over DMs, over the phone? You know, it doesn't really make sense, but that's kind of the nature of the app. There's more guys than there are girls, so girls are going to have more options. But even for guys, you know, I'd say anything more than 2 to 3 options is pushing it. It's overdoing it. Me personally, I like to focus on one person at a time because I feel like if you need backup options, then that person that you're messing with is probably not worth your time. You probably shouldn't be talking to them. Okay, so not only are you competing with a bunch of other people, but you're having to spend more time entertaining all of these people. Okay, if you want to keep them interested, you have to talk to them. That's very difficult to do unless that's all you're doing all day, like I was. You know, I was just on Tinder and making videos and working. That was my life. And because of that, I wasn't living my life. I wasn't living my life to the fullest. I wasn't truly on my purpose. I was letting Tinder distract me from me leveling up as a person and me, you know, growing in my career. And because of that, I was repelling people that actually would have been interested in me as a person. Because if I don't know myself, if I'm not in a relationship with myself, how can anyone else know me? Nobody can know who I am. I'm presenting a false perception of myself to other people. Okay, if you're looking for love, if you are consciously going out of your way to look for love by being on these dating apps, you are not on your purpose. You're wasting your time. Okay, now I'm not saying that you can't find love on these apps, but you're hustling backwards. You could be doing something that is actually worth your time and effort and energy in that same time frame that you're on Tinder, swiping and talking to these girls, having these empty conversations that, you know, aren't going to lead anywhere. If you make love or, you know, finding a relationship the central focus of your life, you'll never find a fulfilling relationship because that means that you don't have a relationship with yourself. You're looking for someone else to fill the void that you have from within. You're the only person that can fill that. And the only way you can fill that is by learning to love yourself and being comfortable being alone and finding your happiness by yourself. So that when you do find that person in the natural flow of life, you can share that happiness with them. Why would somebody want to be with you if you don't have any happiness to share with them? If you're an emotional leech to them? Okay, that's not a healthy relationship. That's how codependencies are made. It throws off the power dynamic. And it's not healthy. Okay, it's not healthy for you. And Tinder enables all of this to happen.